Documentary research is an important type of research in social sciences, especially in descriptive type of research studies. This presentation is basically aimed at an introduction to the concept of documentary research. So first, let us have a brief definition of what a documentary research is. Documentary research, as the name suggests, is basically aimed at an analysis of documents. And so these documents are mainly in text form. We do this analysis in order to find answers to our research questions and to explore our hypotheses or to achieve our research objectives. So as we know that in some cases researchers have questions related to certain social phenomena or historical phenomena. In other cases, they develop hypotheses based on their previous knowledge or previous studies, and as a result, they develop objectives related to those questions and hypotheses, and so documents are analyzed in order to find answers to those questions. The documents that are generally used in documentary research are text documents, but these could also include audios or videos or graphical documents as well. Now, the second thing that we need to know about is like the specifics of documents that one can explore or one can use as sources of documentary research. So text documents could include books, newspapers, for example, reports, diaries, or journals, etc. These could also be in paper form or in electronic form. Similarly, audio or visual forms of documents might include audio tapes or video records, documentaries, films, etc. Graphical or pictorial documents that we can use in documentary research might include, for example, maps and pens, photos, drawings, stamps, etc. And we could also make use of artifacts such as objects of historical significance, such as artistic objects or tools, coins or cutlery or figurines as objects that we can use in documentary research. The next thing is what is the general process of documentary research? The general process of documentary research actually, so like every other generally like other research types, documentary research begins with certain research questions or hypotheses or research objectives. And generally, the type of research questions or hypotheses that we use in documentary research have a historical or chronological nature. This is then followed by the selection and rationalization of the data sources. So what data sources will be used in order to find answers to our research questions or to respond to our research hypotheses or to fulfill our research objectives. What will be the sample that will be included? These are also considerations in the research methodologies section in documentary research, and also the data collection and analysis processes. Similarly, then this is then followed by the selection and rationalization of the data analysis procedures. So, for example, whether we want to use content analysis, where we need more quantification of actually the text that we are, or the document that we are making use of in documentary analysis, or thematic analysis, where we are interested in certain themes related to the phenomena that we are exploring, or even discourse analysis and some other forms of analysis, where we are interested in the kind of language with a socio-cultural background that is used in documentary analysis. Then this is then followed by the validation or the authentication process of the analysis process that is used in documentary analysis. So we need to make sure that the way we analyze documents, that the analysis process that we use in our documentary research is valid and authentic. And so this is then followed by the detailed analysis of the documents in the light of our research questions that leads to certain conclusions, and ultimately the report that comes out as a result of the whole research process. Now, the authenticity is an important aspect of every research, but especially in documentary research. So how can we make sure that our research is authentic and that our findings are genuine? For that, there are certain things that we need to do in order to make the documentary research process authentic. So the first one is we need to make sure that the authenticity of the documents, that is, that the documents are original and reliable. Secondly, the credibility of the documents, that actually means that the trustworthiness and accuracy of the data or the information that is contained in the document. So we also need to make sure that the information and data that we get from the documents is actually accurate and authentic. Thirdly, representativeness of the documents. Here, what we mean is that we need to make sure that the documents included for analysis are representative of the larger group of documents of similar nature or aims or related to the topic that we are exploring. So whatever topic we are exploring, we need to make sure that the document that we analyze are representative. In other words, the representativeness of the sample of the documents that we have collected in terms of the population or the bigger set of documents that is related to that particular issue or concept. And lastly, the clarity of meaning derived from the documents. This actually means that as researchers, if we want our document research to be authentic, we need to make sure that the documents have been understood, analyzed, and reported accurately by the researchers with reference to their context. So if the researchers fail to properly understand the documents, the contents of the documents in their context, and if they fail to critically analyze those documents, and also if they fail to clearly present the meaning of that analysis and that information with reference to its context, then that can lead to non-clarity or ambiguity related to the meaning that we get from the analysis. So this is something that we need to make sure that the meaning derived from the documents is clear so that the process is authentic. The last part of it is related to the strengths and weaknesses of documentary research. So like other forms of research, documentary research has certain strengths. For example, it is economical in terms of the data that we collect that is generally already available in the documents that we analyze. And so it's more cost effective in comparison to other studies where you have to collect empirical data, for example, especially on a larger scale. Authenticity of the data is generally the documents that are included for analysis or are based on established sources. So there is this chance of more authenticity of the data. Lack of researcher bias, again, because the data is based on original sources, and so the researcher has to provide evidence from authentic sources. As a result, there is chance of lesser bias on the part of the researcher. Then it is time saving as well because the data is generally already available, and so the researchers have to analyze that data. and ready availability of the data. These are some of the strengths of the documentary research. The documentary research, like other forms of research, also has certain challenges, and so these challenges include, the first one is that because most documentary research generally takes place in a historical context, therefore the researchers need to have a strong historical knowledge of the concept that they are exploring, or the issue, or the questions that they are responding to. Similarly, there are chances of sample or analysis bias, so the researcher needs to make sure that the sample that they select is representative, and the way that they are analyzing the particular documents, the analysis process is not biased. This is the challenge where the researchers need to actually, maybe for example, open their analysis process to peer review, to stronger peer review in comparison to other researchers. Similarly, dependence on others' data or sources of data and analysis, this could also lead to some level of compromise in terms of authenticity of the data. Sometimes data is partially available, or the data is incomplete. So analyzing that kind of data and making that kind of data the basis of the research conclusions or findings could also be a challenge to documentary researchers. Lack of contemporary or contextual relevance is also, because in many cases, especially in cases where the documents are historically rooted, might not be very relevant to the current times or the contemporary times in which the research is taking place. So the researchers need to make sure that they can establish link between the documents that they are exploring in the contemporary or current situations in which they are exploring the particular topic. And lastly, in some cases, documents might have inaccuracies in the text, but in other cases, there are chances that the researchers might also indulge in certain misinterpretations of the data. So these are some of the challenges that documentary researchers might face, and they need to make sure that they deal with these challenges in a comprehensive, in a critical way, in order to make the documentary research more authentic and useful.